What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. Now, listen, let me tell y'all something. Don't y'all ever question how much I love y'all, because I'm still watching this show and reviewing it. Now, we're going to get through. I think we're going to try to get this. No, every time I say it's going to be short, it end up being long, but we're going to get through this. Okay, so this is Sistas Season 2, Episode 11. Are we on Episode 11? I think we are. Listen. So last week we left off with Andy coming home, and up in her house, Gary was sitting there. So they get to arguing back and forth, and she tells Gary to leave. Gary won't leave. She was like, "I took my key from you." He said, "Oh, I got multiple copies." Okay. So then he's talking about why. I just want to know why, Andy. He goes from wanting to know why they broke up, why she broke up with him, to is she seeing somebody else, to where's my money. Like, that's basically the spectrum of the argument. And she goes from don't worry about it, we not together, minding my business. Then he was like, "What you mean we not together?" And she was like, "Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't like the way you talked to me at the jail. Andy, I'm sorry, Andy, I'm sorry. I gave you all my money. Like, she took everything from me, but you got my money. That's all my money. Well, who did you call? Did you invite some dude over here? Have you slept with him?" And this whole back and forth. And I mean, he gets he gets in her face, almost like it looked like he about to fight, about to hit her, but he doesn't hit her. He stopped short of hitting her, but looked like he about to hit her. Then so Andy was like, "Get out. Just get out. Just leave. I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna call the police. Leave. Just leave. I'm gonna call the police. Leave. Just leave." So she ends up opening the door, and of course, just as she opens the door, here come old boy come walking up. The dude from her job, the one that lived with his mama, or mama lived with him, however you choose to describe the situation. And they come in there, and he was like, "Yo, my man," he was like, "Andy, what's up? Like, you invited me over, and you got Gary up in here. And she was like, "Nah, he was just leaving." And Gary was like, "What?" He said, "Where's my money?" She was like, "I told you, meet me at the bank tomorrow. It's in the safe deposit box. I will give you your damn money." "Well, what bank? What time? I want to know. You tell me." She was like, "I will text you. Get out." And so dude was like, "Yo, my man, I need you to leave." And Gary was like, "Who you talking to? Like, I leave when I feel like leaving." And of course, they get to fighting. So, Andy's screaming and hollering, and she's like, "I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police. You better leave, Gary. They on their way. They on their way. They on their way." So, dude, Gary leaves, and Andy is icing his hands and his face and all that other stuff. And, he was like, "So did you invite him over?" She was like, "No, of course not. Like, he had a copy of my key." And then she basically asked him to leave. He was like, "Are you serious? Like, I legit just got done fighting because of you, and now I gotta leave? Like, what?" She was like, "I was drunk. I just want to go to sleep. Like, I'm sorry. I'll call you tomorrow." He was like, "Yeah, all right, then." So then we got Fatima. I'm gonna go on and knock this out. Fatima and Zach. So Zach, at the beginning I was upset with Zach, because I was like, "Zach, you are really doing the most, and you really tripping." Then I was kind of like, okay, well, Zach is trying to protect Fatima, because old boy came down there and basically threatened him, and he knows it's over Fatima. But by the end, I was actually proud of Zach. So what happened was, Fatima gets home, Zach's not there. She calls him. He's like, "I'm still down to the house, and I'm probably just gonna work here for the night." And Fatima was like, "Word?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna work here." And she was like, "So why are you gonna stay there instead of coming here? Like, I miss you. I want to see you." And he was like, "No, I'm really just gonna stay here." He was like, I'm good. Everything is good." Like, and so Fatima ends up going down there to check on him. Like, why would you rather stay here and work all night rather than come have sex with me, basically? And he told her, he said, "Listen, no one's ever given me an opportunity like this before, and I don't want to screw it up." And see, she doesn't know that old boy done came down there and threatened him. So from that point of view, he's like, I just don't want to screw this up. And and then he told her, he was like, "And I don't want to screw up what's going on between the two of us. Like, if I stay there with you, I feel like I'll be falling back into the same pattern. I got to figure out how to." I'm adding to this, but this is what my interpretation was. "I need to stand on my own 2 feet, and I need to do this on my own. If that means I got to sleep in an abandoned building for a couple of nights until I get a couple of paychecks, or go back to the shelter, like, I need to do this for me. Me coming to your house is basically putting me right back where I was with Karen. And I feel like he doesn't want to put himself back in a situation where somebody can get mad at him and put his ass out, and he don't have nothing." And so by the time he got done with that, I could respect it. Now, Fatima was in her feelings, and she took it personally. And if I were Fatima, I would have as well, because she doesn't get it. One, she really doesn't she really is truly helping him. I mean, she get a little something, something too, but she really is helping him, and I think it's coming from a good place. But the flip side of that is, you know, it make you feel some kind of way, like, well, damn, he don't want to be with me, like, he don't want all of this, you know. And again, she doesn't know that old boy then threatened to basically put him out of the program if he keep messing with Fatima. And so I was cool with Zach. Once I kind of thought about the whole thing, I was kind of cool with Zach. Karen goes home, and Preacher Man is there, and, you know, they cuddle, they talk, they cool, it's great. He missed her, she missed him. He told her that, you know, he loved her and that they was moving towards love, and she was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, it was cool. Danny and Rodeo, Preston, you know, she comes home, and this fool gets out the shower and tries to roll up on him to have sex, and she got the handcuffs. He was like, oh, no, we ain't doing that. And I was like, exactly. Like, this whole thing started because y'all didn't know how to play games with the handcuffs without it turning into something more. And he was like, no, we not doing that. He said, we just went through this whole situation because of them handcuffs. We ain't doing that. And she was like, what? Like, why would you do that? And he was like, because, you know, I just don't, like, I'm learning my lesson, and I'm trying to make better decisions. And then he told her, he was like, and can you stop calling me the white boy? And she was like, but you are the white boy. He said, yeah, but what if I called you the black girl to my friends? She was like, okay, well, you know. And she tried to, like, give him a hard time about it, but she was like, you got a point. You know, like, I understand what you're saying. He was like, I just want, you know, we're going to have to figure out a way to be respectful of each other. You know, we're in an interracial relationship, and we're going to have to figure out a way to be respectful of each other so that we don't basically go back to where we went and you got some dude up in your house, you know. And here's the thing. This is what I'm going to need y'all to stop doing. I'm going to need y'all to stop acting like somebody, you know, licking ass is I ain't going to say that, is a big deal. Like, we have all heard of toss and salads. Some people do it, some people don't. But let's not act like that's not a normal part of gameplay and foreplay and people's relationships. Like, y'all act like this man licking up on her asshole was the nastiest thing you have ever heard of sexually. Child, bye. People do it all the time. Okay? Okay. I know y'all have heard about tossed salads. Like, let's not act stupid. Okay. Anyway, moving on. That's the writers, a.k.a. Tyler. No good way you know about somebody tossing salads. You know all about it. So, the only other thing that was I'm going to get back to Andy in a minute. But we have Maurice. Now, Sabrina done showed up at Maurice's house drunk. She done got the cab to take her down to Maurice's house drunk. And Maurice, of course, they have to do this back and forth about why you here, what are you doing here. And she said something about he was at the restaurant with another woman. Child, Maurice said what all of us are thinking. Everybody in my comments and everything else said the same thing. If you are over the Sabrina Calvin drama, raise your hand. He raised both his hands and a leg, and I feel the same way. And for that reason, I'm just gonna zip right past that. We saw Calvin in bed with some woman. Clearly, they've known each other since childhood. She told him, "Listen, you gotta understand that, you know, women who don't know you that well, they're gonna put you on the spectrum. You act some kind of way, and you're gonna have to deal with the backlash." Moving on. Then he asked her to cuddle him. Moving on. I'm not doing that. Nope. So somehow or another in the conversation, she sees that Maurice's hands are bruised up, and Maurice tells her what happened outside the bank. So she was like, well, what happened to Alonzo? And he said, I don't know, I left. So she pulls up the cameras on the laptop. Now, she drunk as hell, but she got the presence of mind to pull up the laptop, the camera, and dude is still laying on the ground. And she was like, Maurice, you might have killed him. He's still laying on the ground. And of course, at first, Maurice was like, I don't care. But then he was like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I do care. So they end up going over there. Maurice still got his damn pajamas on, child. Sabrina gets out the car. She tries to kick him and whatever. He ain't moving. Sabrina gonna say, I think you might have killed him. Child. This is the part that I thought was ridiculous. Now, Maurice is ridiculous. Maurice throws her purse out the car and tells her to get a ride home because she said, "Give me my phone so I can call the police because we need to get an ambulance for him. You know, you might have killed him." Maurice was like, "Well, I had a restraining order, which you did. Here's the thing: whatever went down in that park lot, if it's all of that's on camera, then they saw that he was waiting for you when you came out there. He saw that Alonzo was the aggressor and that you were defending yourself and you had a restraining order. There was no reason for you to roll up. Anyway, moving on, child. I guess you're a black man in America. Shit, I don't know. So then he proceeds to leave her there. He throws her purse at her, puts his car in reverse, and says, "Bye, bitch," and gets out. I couldn't believe that. I said, "Are you serious right now? Is he really going to leave her there in the middle of that parking lot in the middle of the night with this dude that you just beat up who could really just be unconscious and could wake up at any point in time mad? Are you serious right now?" That's what he did, child. He left her there. So that's where that ended, child. Her calling the ambulance. So last but not least, let's get back to this Andy situation. So Andy puts old boy out and goes to bed. Now his was stupid. The man already done told you that he got multiple keys to your apartment. You put him out, but you stayed in the apartment. You stayed in the apartment. You didn't go to Karen's house. You didn't go get a hotel room. You stayed in the damn apartment. She said, "Well, I'm gonna get the locks changed." Do you know that I wouldn't have stayed in that apartment until I got my damn locks changed? Are you stupid? Or slept with a gun under my pillow? One of the two was going to have to happen. So she wakes up in the middle of the night and Gary is sitting at her in her kitchen drinking. Talking about, is he in there? She was like, "No, he's not in there." "Good, I'm going to sleep." What? You're not walking up in my bedroom. But again, I'm thinking, why the fuck are you even there? There's no way in hell I would still be in that damn house knowing Gary can walk in. Listen. So they get to going back and forth, and they not arguing, but they're talking. She's trying to stay real calm, and he drunk, and he's trying to get in the bedroom, and she's telling him, "Fine, you can sleep on the couch, but you know, I'm gonna sleep in the room, you gonna sleep on the couch." Girl, is you stupid? So then he's apologizing. "I'm sorry, Andy. I'm sorry, Andy. I'm sorry, Andy." And he goes to hug her. And he's hugging her. And she's like, "I can't breathe. Stop. I can't breathe. Stop. I can't breathe." And the next thing you know, her arms go limp. So are we supposed to believe that he killed her? Or that he, like, basically put, like, the sleeper hold on her and she passed out? Here's the thing. You ain't raised your knee. You didn't, like, you were facing him. You didn't knee his ass in the groin. You didn't punch him. You didn't slap him. You didn't try. You didn't do nothing. You were just like, "Stop, Carrie. Carrie, I can't breathe." He didn't have his, now mind you, he didn't have his arms around her neck. Like, he had his hands on the back of her neck, but he didn't have his arms around. I was like, are you serious right now? Really? Then, next thing you know, we see Gary driving in a car, calling, Karen and the preacher man in the bed. The preacher man's phone started ringing. Come to find out, who is it? It's Gary. Gary is a part of his his men's group at the church. Now, we ain't heard nothing about Gary going to church, being a part of no church, in the church, out the church. But now, all of a sudden, he's a part of his men's group. And he's talking to Gary. And, you know, Karen was like, "Do I need to leave? Is this private?" He was like, "Oh, no, we good. You know, you're fine." Now, he's talking to Gary, and they get to talking about, you know, he's like, I can't believe she did this to me. You know, I can't do this anymore. I can't take this anymore. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for real. I'm going to do it. Why did she do this to me? And he's talking, and Preacher Man is trying to, you know, get him to calm down. Talking about, "Son, where are you? I'll come meet you. Where are you? Where are you? I'm going to come meet you." So then he says the man's name out loud. He says, "Gary." So then he says, then they got to talk about him being married, and he was like, "Well, I told you to handle that. I know you told me to, you know, to deal with my wife before I got into another relationship. I know you did. I know you did." So then he says something about, "I know you love Andy." So now Karen is like, "Andy?" So he gonna look at Karen and go, "Is this your Andy?" She was like, "Hell yeah, where's Gary? Where's Andy? What's going on?" So now she calling Andy on her cell phone, and he trying to talk to Gary. tell Gary, where are you? I'm going to come meet you. I'm going to come meet you. She calling Andy. Andy ain't answering the phone. Next thing you know, we see Gary. He's driving. We see him slam on the brakes. Slam on the accelerator. He's speeding off, and then the phone go dead. Y'all, I can't do this no more. I just don't know. I see y'all next week. Now, I ain't going to watch it next week because I want to see what happened to Andy. I want to know if Andy dead or if she just passed out. Because I can't believe Andy dead. But, child, we'll be back next week. But after that,